There's an ongoing lawsuit involving the gamers who bought The Crew 1, an online-only racing game, where two gamers took Ubisoft to court because they felt like they were misled with The Crew 1. They bought the game, but then Ubisoft took the games away from them. Ubisoft decided to delist the game from all the digital distribution platforms back in December 2023, and shut down all the servers in March 2024 last year. Why? Because maintaining the servers of a game that people barely play anymore costs money, and Ubisoft doesn't want to spend more money on games that people barely play anymore. I don't get why companies like Ubisoft aren't giving users the freedom to make their own dedicated servers to keep the game alive even after years. There's still a community of people that are passionate about playing this game, even if the numbers aren't that much, and not giving them the ability to create their own servers for an online-only game is ludicrous. Apparently, it's because of legal and intellectual property reasons. Ubisoft doesn't want people to make modifications of their intellectual property. That level of restriction and proprietary legal nonsense is what really kills gaming right now. Quite literally, in fact, considering that The Crew is pulled off of stores and you cannot play it anymore. There are some who want to revive the game with their own dedicated servers, but we're still gonna have to wait if the project will see the light of day and provide The Crew 1 fans with the game that they deserve, free from the clutches of Ubisoft's insane business practice. For now, all you need to know is buying games does not mean owning them. In that same logic, pirating them does not mean stealing them. In response to the two players suing Ubisoft for delisting The Crew and removing the servers, Ubisoft responded by saying some of the most detestable statements in the gaming industry. Consumers were explicitly notified at the time of purchase that they were purchasing a license. No, they were not explicitly notified at the time of purchase because people aren't aware of the ownership of games as well as they are right now. Just because you give them a long terms and condition that most people are gonna skip and say agree on doesn't mean that they were explicitly notified. That is some legal nonsense that will definitely be under scrutiny in court. Keep in mind that Steam is warning customers that they're buying a license for a game and not the game itself since October 2024. We've known this for a while, and I'm just glad that gamers are notified about it. But at the time of the release of The Crew 1, this is not something that gamers are familiar with. We'll have to see how the lawsuit goes, but I just find it utterly disgusting that people are paying full price for games that they might lose access to in the future. This happened with The Crew 1, this happened with Overwatch 1, this happened with Spec Ops The Line, and I have no doubts that this will happen in future games too. FYI, pirating games let you actually own the games and install them as many times as you like. Just saying. If games are being taken down by the developer or by the publisher for whatever reason or another, like how Ubisoft did with The Crew 1, then you have lost your $60 and you have lost your game. They are quite literally taking your games away, and there's really no solution for that in the digital age. Right? I mean, you can always get physical copies, assuming that the games are actually in the disc or cartridges, and that's assuming you play on consoles. If you play on PC, well, physical copies are not a thing for PC gamers anymore, last time I checked. But what is a thing for PC gamers is piracy. In fact, piracy is pretty much the only way to truly preserve video games at the state where it is right now. At least with pirated copies of games, you can copy them and install them as many times as you like. That doesn't necessarily mean consoles can't have piracy. As long as you can jailbreak them, you can pirate games in there too. This includes the PlayStation 5, which can be jailbroken depending on the version. Anything older than a PS5 is pretty much open for jailbreaking and installing pirated games. For the most part at least. Definitely look up tutorials on how to do that, or just buy the consoles that are already jailbroken, and all you need to worry about is installing the games. And then there are multiplayer games. If the games allow you to make dedicated servers, you're pretty much good to go. This is why the older Call of Duty games like Black Ops 2 is still alive to this day thanks to the Plutonium project alongside other Call of Duty games. However, with games like Overwatch 1 and The Crew 1, you're entirely dependent on the publisher and whether they decide the game is alive or not. In other words, you're pretty much screwed, but I don't play multiplayer games, or at least not the ones that don't have bots. Black Ops 2 has bots, and Counter-Strike Source has bots. They're still alive and still fun to play to this day. If you buy a video game, you should own it and be able to play it as long as you own it, not when the game developers think that it's time to take the games away from you. The Ubisoft statement of, "You don't own your games, you only own the license for the games," makes me think of how we can truly preserve the games that we buy. Physical copies should have been the way to go, but unfortunately, that one is a hit or miss these days, with some physical copies not having the full game in the disc, and some physical copies are just game keys for you to activate the license and download the games. To me at least, the solution for game preservation right now is to remove DRM entirely. No checking online to make sure that you own the game, no empty discs and cartridges as a license key to prove that you actually own the games that you bought. Have the game inside the Blu-ray disc, have the game inside the cartridge. Let people own the games that they bought. Unfortunately, that solution would make companies absolutely seethe because with little to no DRM, producing and selling pirated copies of physical games would be incredibly easy. And if there are no DRMs in the physical copies, then it's very easy for resellers to pirate games, burn them on empty Blu-ray or cartridges, and sell the bootleg copies to everyone. Back when I still had a PS2, most of the games that I bought are quite literally bootleg copies. I still remember owning a pirated copy of Resident Evil 5 on the PS2. Yes, Resident Evil 5 on the PS2. It's literally just Resident Evil 4 inside it. Bootlegs, right? There's a lot of security in our digital products right now. The more security these companies add to those digital products, the less consumers would feel to actually owning those digital products. Removing those securities is the one way for consumers to truly own digital products. And the only group of people that really know how to take off these security measures are the digital pirates sailing the seas right now. Moving on from gamers daring to own the games that they bought, we have console fanboys talking smack about other people's platforms. Some of you guys really love to exaggerate things. I don't understand why some people still deny that the entry cost of high-end PC gaming is very high. Well, duh. Don't buy high-end PCs if you think that the entry cost is very high. Most people don't have to start with something high-end. They can just buy a budget or a mid-range PC to start off their gaming experience. Is it because you console fanboys think, oh, if you're getting a PC, you have to get a high-end one because otherwise, what's the point? Just get a console then. I need to emphasize this many times. PC gaming is not about getting the highest-end hardware to play PC games. PC gaming is about playing PC games. Period. There are way more PC games than there are console games, and that's not including the games that the PC can emulate. And depending on the game, you can run it on almost any PC or laptop released at any point in the past, and it don't have to originally came for a PC. That's how versatile PC gaming is, and that's not something that the consoles can do. Console gamers have only the console, the slim version, or even the pro version. You have to submit to the whims of the console manufacturers. You have to buy their games, unless you can jailbreak your console, and you're on the right firmware version to jailbreak. Also, to me, and many others that have jobs, PC gaming lets me do my work. Consoles can't. End of story. PlayStation fanboys continue to find ways of showing that they are better than everyone else. This is what happens when you put games on a platform where users actually buy games, and not through a subscription service. I don't know why you would be cheering on the fact that PlayStation gamers don't have Game Pass and that they are buying games at full price. That's not exactly the own that you think it is. In fact, I feel embarrassed that that's what you PlayStation gamers are doing. Xbox Game Pass is a rental service. You do get a lot of great value out of playing the games on a rental price, but you don't own the games that you're renting. But then again, considering the state of digital copies of games right now, you don't own the games that you're buying either. Xbox offering that service is great for consumers, but I guess it's not great for the developers, right? They need more money being thrown at them, right? PlayStation fanboys just can't live without paying their big corporations they've been shilling to. It's one thing for PlayStation fanboys for bragging about paying games, but it's another thing for bragging about owning these games. Not owning as in, I bought the game and I own it, but owning as in, this game is only available in my platform and no one else should have it. Zenless Zone Zero is going to be released on Xbox, which I find surprising because I thought it's a multi-platform game that's out on Xbox already. In fact, I thought all the big three Hoyo games are out on Xbox, but no. It turns out that Genshin Impact came out on Xbox on November 2024, and Honkai isn't even out yet. That's crazy if you ask me. Why betray PlayStation gamers? Yeah, see what I mean when I say that PlayStation gamers hate sharing their games to people that don't have PlayStation? Xbox don't spend money on games. What's the point? Whoa, hold on a second there, PlayStation fanboy. First off, nice of you to suggest that giving more money to corporations is better than giving the best value for gamers. Look at me, a PlayStation fanboy, bragging about spending money on games. Look at those pathetic Xbox gamers saving their money using their Game Pass. How dare they? They should suck the corporations more. It's not the own that you think it is. But even if I agree with that, Zenless Zone Zero is free to play, just like any other Hoyo games. This game came out on PlayStation first in terms of the big consoles, so by that logic, you guys aren't paying for games too, right? Or maybe you just haven't played the games that you're shilling because you're too busy fanboying corporations. Console fanboys are genuinely annoyed when gamers are getting the same kind of games that they get. It's about time to stop porting. No, I don't think so. Sony is still making ports to this day, and nothing you can do can stop that. Sales are weak, and the long-term damage to their console business isn't worth it. Long-term damage? What long-term damage? PlayStation is doing just fine and is still doing just fine. Do you seriously think that porting these games are going to damage PlayStation? Influencers should stop pushing PC gaming down everyone's throat and overhyping it. We're not overhyping it, it's one of the many options that you can take for gaming. Just like Windows, macOS, and Linux. Whatever options you take, the goal is simple. It's to play PC games. PC is why we don't get third-party AAA games that delivers a big generational leap in gaming and gaming tech advancements, let alone in a polished and optimized package. Yeah, right, PC's the reason for that, and not the gaming industry lacking any forms of creativity in the last couple of years. Gaming would be so much better if everyone just had the same hardware. Actually, no, it would be worse because you're holding back what gaming is capable of. Considering that PlayStation 5 games can run pretty well, even in budget or mid-range hardware, it's more like PlayStation and the consoles that are holding them back. PC gamers are a burden on the entire industry. No, they're not. The cost of having generational leaps and tech advancements is that mistakes have to be made, like the whole RTX 50 series and bad PC ports. We're calling them out when they're there, but don't pretend that this is something we just leave alone and left uncalled for. And that's all for the video today. Thank you all so much for watching. If you made it to the end, here's a cat. Before we close this video, huge thanks to all these wonderful sponsors. You are all fantastic. If you want to see your name among these legends, then check out the links below, just $1. And you have supported this channel a lot. Seriously, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you all next time.